Khabib Nurmagomedov didn't just win fights. He dominated them. Undefeated in 29 bouts, he made world-class opponents look helpless. But here's the real question. What made him unstoppable? Was it his raw talent, his brutal training, or something far deeper, hidden in the way he thought, lived, and trained every single day? The truth is, Khabib's greatest weapon wasn't his wrestling or striking. It was his mindset. A mindset forged in the mountains of Dagestan, sharpened by the relentless discipline of his father, and carried with him into every cage he stepped into. And here's why that matters to you. Khabib's mindset isn't just for fighters. The same principles that made him an unbeaten champion can help you become more disciplined, more focused, and more productive in your own life. So let's break down the mindset that made Khabib unstoppable and the lessons you can apply starting today.
Khabib Nurmagomedov's journey to becoming an undefeated champion didn't begin under bright lights or in packed arenas. It started in the rugged mountains of Dagestan, where life itself demanded toughness. From an early age, Khabib was introduced to discipline not as a choice, but as a way of survival. His father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, wasn't just a coach, he was a teacher of life. Abdulmanap believed that success wasn't built on talent alone, but on structure, sacrifice, and humility. He made sure his son understood that discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. For young Khabib, that meant grueling workouts, strict routines, and constant reminders that cutting corners today meant weakness tomorrow. One story often told is how Abdulmanap would make Khabib repeat the same exercise dozens of times, long after he was exhausted. When Khabib asked why, his father's answer was simple. When you're tired, that's when discipline begins. Those lessons went deeper than any workout. They taught Khabib to master himself. This philosophy shaped Khabib into someone who never relied on bursts of motivation. Instead, he relied on systems, habits, and consistency. Day after day, he trained, whether the world was watching or not. Here's the lesson. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. If you rely only on feeling motivated, you'll quit the moment it gets hard. But if you build discipline, you keep going no matter how you feel. That's why Khabib's mindset was unshakable, because it wasn't based on moods, it was based on habits. And this applies directly to productivity. If you want to study, work, or build something meaningful, don't wait for motivation to strike. Create routines, stick to them, and let discipline carry you through. That's the mindset that turns ordinary people into champions in the octagon and in life.
For Khabib, training wasn't just preparation for a fight. It was his entire life. Stories of his workouts are legendary. As a child, he famously wrestled a bear under his father's supervision. Not as a stunt, but as a lesson in toughness and adaptability. In Dagestan, the idea was simple. If you can wrestle a bear, you can wrestle a man. But beyond the stories, Khabib's training was about relentless repetition. He drilled the basics, wrestling, grappling, conditioning, over and over, until they became second nature. While other fighters chased flashy techniques, Khabib doubled down on fundamentals. His ground control became so dominant that opponents often looked like they had never trained a day in their lives. This didn't happen by accident. Abdulmanap believed mastery came from doing the ordinary things extraordinarily well, and Khabib embodied that philosophy every day. His routine was strict, his focus unshakable, and his preparation meticulous. By the time fight night arrived, victory was already decided, not in the cage, but in the countless hours of training that came before it. Here's the lesson. Habits shape identity. Khabib didn't train because he felt like it. He trained because he was a fighter. It became who he was. And when your habits align with your identity, consistency stops feeling like a struggle. It becomes automatic. For productivity, the same principle applies. Don't just try to work hard, make it part of who you are. If you're a student, act like a student every day. If you're building a business, live like an entrepreneur. When your actions reflect your identity, you won't need to force discipline. It will flow naturally, just as it did for Khabib in every fight. While Khabib's physical dominance was unmatched, what truly set him apart was his mental game. Long before the cage door closed, many of his opponents were already beaten, not by his fists, but by his mindset. Khabib carried himself with a calm certainty, a quiet confidence that no amount of trash talk could shake. In a sport filled with bravado, Khabib stood out because he didn't waste energy on showmanship. He wasn't chasing fame, endorsements, or headlines. His only focus was the fight and honoring the discipline his father instilled in him. Even in the chaos of pre-fight press conferences where others tried to provoke him, Khabib remained composed. He never allowed emotion to cloud his judgment. Inside the octagon, that control became a weapon. While opponents fought with bursts of anger or desperation, Khabib stayed patient, calculated, and relentless. His mindset was simple: stick to the plan, trust the work, and let discipline dictate the outcome. Here's the lesson: mental strength isn't about ignoring emotions, it's about mastering them. In productivity, distractions are the modern opponent. Social media, procrastination, endless notifications, they're the trash talkers of daily life, trying to pull you away from focus. If you allow them in, you've already lost before the real work begins. Like Khabib, you need to build a mental shield. Protect your focus, cut off the noise, and keep your eyes on the goal. Success doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most consistent and most focused. That's how Khabib broke his opponents mentally, and it's how you can break through distractions to win in your own arena.
Khabib Nurmagomedov's legacy wasn't built on talent alone. It was forged in discipline, sharpened through relentless training, and sealed by unshakable mental strength. His father instilled in him that success comes from sacrifice, and Khabib lived that truth every single day. His habits turned him into a warrior who never broke, never folded, and never lost. That's why Khabib isn't just another champion. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. Undefeated, untouchable, and unshaken, his career stands as proof of what true greatness looks like in combat sports. If you respect Khabib's dominance and the legacies left behind, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to remember why the eagle will forever soar above the rest.